All right, we're live. Hello, gentlemen. Sonny, Ben, how's it going today?
Going well on the East Coast.
Good.
Stuff in my face here with the chocolate. Joe Louis. Sorry. I'm good. I'm good. How are you guys?
Good. I think just about recovered from the cold card scare. I guess that's been the hot topic on everybody's lips. How did you guys find it?
Well, I mean, rightfully so. It was for me, it was a whole range of emotions. There was times where it was almost exhilarating. Like it felt like I was like James Bond on the run, keeping my capital, governments and hackers. But then it was because I thought I was I had a cold card. I've had a MK3 and a Q, and I've also helped like people like immediate friends and family, six, 8 people kind of do custody, and again, always 100 dice roll was. I went to all the conferences, listened to all the podcasts, and 100 dice rolls seemed optional, right? If it was a requirement, I think I would have done that. Also through a multi-sig or the phrase, like I felt confident when it happened that I'd be, but it was, and I got the oxygen mask.
Hey guys, sorry to interrupt, but Ben, I can't hear you. Dan, I can't see you. I don't think the stream's quite working right now. Ben, you sound like RoboCop, and then Dan's video disappeared. So I think
I turned the video off. I thought it was me, but
no, I think it's Ben. Ben, it might be your side. Yeah, it was really hard to hear you there. I don't know if there's a way to kind of switch up your Wi-Fi or go to like maybe your phone data or something else, but I want to try it. And then Dan as well. I don't know. Can your mic? Are you able to pull it down so we can hear you better? I don't know if that helps or not.
Yeah. Can you hear me? Is that better?
Like your headset? Is that what you're picking up? Yeah, there you go. Nice. I don't know. Maybe that'll help. Okay. But Ben, yeah, it was really hard to hear you, man. So were you able to pick up what he said, Dan?
I caught a bit there, yeah. But I can go through my experience. It's I guess cold card is the default device for a lot of Canadians, and everybody was freaking out. I'm sure, figuring out what version they were using, which one was out there, and awful times for people to lose their Bitcoin, get things swept. Really kind of heart wrenching every time you open Twitter and seeing people that were saying that they were losing Bitcoin. That was really awful. But I mean, coming out of this, I think there's going to be some good positives for security. There'll be a different narrative around self custody. We can see that already, I think. And to me, I think, from going through this or seeing all this kind of process, it reinforces what I've kind of thought for a long time, is that I don't think self custody is for everybody. I think it's really, it is a challenging process to do the dice roll, to make sure that, everything is aligned, and you have backup, you have ways to move funds quickly if you need to. That's been a real eye opener for me. What do you think, Sonny?
Yeah, I definitely see what you're saying. I definitely see your point that it's maybe not for everyone, in the sense that it is hard. But I almost hear that as like, maybe freedom is not for everybody either, because I mean, to me, self-custody is freedom, right? Like I love Michael Saylor and strategy and all these other crazy things, but ultimately, to me, one of the biggest promises of Bitcoin is this ability to, hold your own, keys, right? And so I think just to kind of peel it back, the protocol itself was not jeopardized. I think that's like the good thing, right? So it wasn't like Bitcoin itself is messed up. I do think, in my view, this is maybe the worst thing that I've ever seen. And I've lived through Mt. Gox. I've seen, like everything, right? FTX. I think this might be the worst. I don't think the world at large is feeling it. I think it's just like it's a very concentrated group of Bitcoiners that are actually like feeling it. I don't know what to say, man. I mean, Rodolfo was one of the first Bitcoiners I ever met. I put out a tweet this weekend as well saying that, look, I took a lot of flack for this one, but I went on the offense and I said, look, I there's no way that these guys were malicious, right? I think there's something that's really scary that's kind of happening in the community where people are being split apart and they're jumping to the conclusion that these guys are scammers and they tried to do it. And I'll be the first to call out that NBK has a big ego. Like, when he goes on stage, when he talks, he does have that. And yes, that's definitely one thing, but that's very different from, them being malicious and actually like trying to like hurt people. So that's the kind of fine line that I think, I don't know, I'm trying to at least push back on a little bit. I think this will hopefully lead to more multi-sig, right? I'm a big fan of Casa, Unchained Capital. I think that will take us to where we're hoping to get to with Cold Cards. But yeah, I don't know, man. Mixed feelings. I think it's a tough time in the industry, but I think, what do they say? Whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So I do think that Bitcoiners are going to come out, on the other side, much, much more stronger. And then there's so many other conversation threads, right? With the AI piece being used and all this other stuff. But yeah, that's kind of my 2 cents. I don't know, Ben, love to hear, or Dan, your opinions.
I'll just test my audio again. Is it better? Does it come in?
Good, yeah.
You're back, yeah. And
Okay.
everything, even your video quality just went up, like, I don't know what you did, but a lot.
Yeah, I'll pretend I did something, but absolutely nothing. I kind of turned the dial a little bit, but I guess just bridging between the two from what you were saying about self-custody is not for everybody, Dan, and then you, Sonny, kind of taking the and I understand you're not saying that. You're opening the conversation, and I agree with it because I helped a number of individuals with their setups. And for the most part, it was, I haven't thought about this since we last did this.
Yeah.
And I don't think any of those individuals would have been able to recover their funds and move their funds without me. So I'm here trying to be like, no, we're here for freedom. And that's why I'm here. I'm like, this is your opportunity to be a sovereign individual and a global citizen. And it's your opportunity to not have any authoritarian, whether government, bank, any you are you. I'm all for that, but if freedom's not worth much if you don't have the tokens anymore. Like if they've been, your wallet's been drained, and I don't want to point fingers by any means, but again, when I came into the space, I was pretty anal about the whole process, and by all means, I didn't go as extreme as some people go with their setups, but I wanted to make sure I was safe. And 100 dice rolls was kind of not a minimum, and like that was never and we kind of, the average Bitcoin was kind of sold to the average Joe of like, if you figure it out, fiat failed, you can buy Bitcoin, you can put it in a hardware wallet, not in a hardware wallet, but spin up a wallet, and you can move your move custody into your possession, and you can exit the system. But if you have to be up to date and checking firmwares and following, and being able to, that's not what we promised people, right? Like, and so and that's not a finger point. I'm just saying that's how I felt when I was new to the space, and that's more or less what I told people. Not that it was, didn't have to do your security, but I did all the things, and they were all good because, again, we did the things to make sure they're safe. But by all means, like aspect.
Yeah, I've had similar experiences, and there's a couple of points I want to pull on there. Sonny said, when I was talking about self custody is not for everybody, he said, well, that's like freedom's not for everybody. I don't think freedom is for everybody. Like I think there's some people that are just happy enough to go, okay, I'll just comply, I'll do whatever, I just want an easy life. I just, path of least resistance. That's it. And the other point you made there, Ben, about the, that's not what we were sold. I agree with that as well. I mean, I was having those conversations every time Ledger, was discontinuing a product and saying, right, we're not giving out updates for this anymore. People were calling me that I'd recommend or that I had got into Bitcoin that had a Ledger, and they were like, what does this mean? Is this, like, did I got to move stuff? Did I got, like, panicking and having that conversation? And I'm sure there was, like, the amount of people I'm sure that panicked, me being one of them, when this whole cold card thing broke, because you didn't know if there was reports that it was an MK4, it was just MK3, it was the Q, it was different products, it was everything. And then, there was other reports that this Bitcoin Red team were uncovering, and like it was panic stations for 2 or 3 days. And like, I was glued to Twitter going, right, what's next? Is the wallet that I've moved this to, or is this, is this compromised? I got to do something else. I was I was on vacation basically, and there was a bunch of people on vacation who couldn't get access to stuff. Like I think when you're in that position and you're sweating about your life savings and or whatever you have, whatever sort of stack you have in self custody, that's a big moment for you. I've had a few of those moments in the last kind of 4 or 5 years of my Bitcoin journey. You were talking about Mount Gox. I wasn't back that far, but it's not a nice thing. And I guess I think that's all part of the journey, and we're so early in the journey too.
Yeah, it's definitely, but it makes great conversation, if nothing else. I was gonna say is that there's another really, I think, interesting revelation, right? Like CoinKite. By the way, these guys are Canadian, right? It should be noted. They are they were an open source platform, and supposedly they went closed source, and they were using, I think, Trezor's code or something. And then when they went closed source, that was when the mistake arose. And I don't know how accurate some of this is, but this is what I've been hearing. And so I do think there's something interesting there, right? Where it's like, as soon as we moved away from that open source ethos, things started getting dicey. The second point I wanted to make is we have this famous saying, right, in Bitcoin, which is don't trust, verify. I didn't do that. Did you? No. Yet here we are. Well, I was told by who? By influencers? Like who influencers? Like who are they? So again, I think a lot of that is we're to blame as well. Like people who are in this industry who are onboarding other people, that maybe we shouldn't just like blindly trust people, right? Like that's literally what Satoshi kind of like is asking us not to do, right? So I don't know. It's such a slippery slope. Yeah, go ahead, Dan.
No, I mean there has to be some element of trust. Like I trust people who, as part of building this Canadian Bitcoin conference group, in this community, I trust you, I trust Ben, I trust other people. I trust there's people that we have access to on Telegram, and speakers that I've built relationships with, that I can text and go, what do you think of this? Because I'm not auditing the cold card code. Like that's not my wheelhouse. So I mean, when you talk about verifying that was correct, I was leaving that up to someone else to do, because I'm not like that's I don't know.
That's the irony, right? Everyone expected someone else to do it.
Yeah, I know.
Right? But that's a blind spot for, I think, Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And anyway, so I think, yeah. No, go ahead.
You see now this team with Rob from Anchorwatch, and they actually, on the conference, he'd agreed to come, and I'd reached out to him before and had a discussion with him, but I think those guys are doing an amazing job. I mean, that's the guys that I'm kind of trusting that, to verify wallets and do that. And that's what they're doing now. But, that's, Yeah, funny you say that. The irony, and then the irony is, I saw the pictures, and that, listen, I got the bags that, and the cold card were sending out that said at the top, "Don't trust, verify." And it was in a sealed bag, and then you had to check the code.
That was literally they're saying. Oh no!
Like,
Oh shit!
it was pretty.
It's tough.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many I think takeaways and lessons, and I mean, what can you do, right? At this point, you can't change it, right? So you can only learn and kind of grow. But I think another interesting fine line was CoinKite is a 2-man show, right? And their kind of thesis was, hey, we are, or from what I know at least, and their whole thing was like, we're Bitcoin only, therefore we're the best. We're we don't do shit coins. But Ledger and Trezor employ hundreds of employees, right? So I almost wonder, like, did crypto, the thing that all Bitcoiners are so allergic to, including myself to a large extent, I wonder if that saved these other guys, right? Just the fact that they have more money and they have more revenue and they can actually invest in security. And I don't know. These are all things that I'm percolating in my brain. I have no idea where I'm going with any of this. But Ben, you look like you have some thoughts. None?
Well, I do have thoughts. In terms of what you were just mentioning, I hadn't connected a dot yet, but going back to what you were talking before, like, because I looked at self-custody and counterparty risk was like, it was about the banks, right? It was about like, oh, I'm going to take care of, custody of my economic energy. I didn't think of counterparty risk with the technology, like the hardware wallet, right? So for me, I'm like, well, wait a minute. Like, I download a client on my computer. I didn't verify that download. And like right now I moved all my UTXOs, to a hot wallet. I got passphrases. I've got a temporary situation before the next situation. But like, I made that with a piece of software that I love saying that all the nerds agree it's safe because it's open source. Like that, I've told so many people, yeah, put money in there because the nerds say it's safe because it's open source, right? So and
yeah,
I guess
the trust piece that someone has verified it. I don't know who, but someone has.
Now, in the community at whole, like I think what Rob's doing is like, the unfortunate thing was immediately my reaction was, once I found out I was good, was this is an unfortunate, like, to get stronger, you need, you need to get sick to build up your immunity, and Bitcoin's anti-fragile. It's absorbing this hit. And like, we just saw how quickly the network came together, groups of people, like how this red team thing has gotten spun up, and, the BTC pay server issue that went out. And so everybody's situation just increased. Everybody's awareness of entropy just went through the roof. Everybody just went, wait a minute, I need to think about my custody situation for myself and others. And so that's going to ripple out, right? Like it's going to have a positive effect by all means. And likely open source, because I think everybody is just having that awareness. But to go back to what you were talking about open source earlier, like, again, the cold card, it was supposed to be open source, and the switch and everything I'm really ignorant on, so I can't really comment on all that. But again, it was my understanding that everybody was looking at this. So I get cold card is responsible, but if this was out into the community to say, don't trust, verify, and it wasn't addressed at the community level of like, hey, high alert. Now, I have seen screenshots. I have seen people say, oh, look at this. And half the time I'm looking at code and I don't even know what I'm looking at, but people are upset and saying, oh, this was alerted at, so far back. I don't know. Like, that's pure speculation. Just some people putting screenshots out there. But it would be, that would be the unfortunate thing, to find out that it was kind of brought up. Because like, I got thinking about it, like, if they couldn't they could update the firmware, but that doesn't fix everybody's wallet. So potentially somebody realizes we have this issue. Do we not say anything? And I'm not saying this is what happened, but like you have the dilemma of like, hey, everybody, there's an issue. That's word's going to get out. And so you potentially kickstart a drain on, on wallets by doing the right thing and telling everybody about the issue and getting the word out there, or it hasn't been found. We just kick the can. And again, I'm not saying this is how you have that. Once it's out there, and everybody needed to change their wallet. So whether it was the hacker that got there first, or it was Coldcard that got there first, there still potentially would have been this, this issue. Do you see what I'm saying?
Kind of, yeah, kind of. I mean, I think what the thing was that they've obviously been trying to audit their own code. They've been using AI, but I thought it was interesting how their first post was about AI and how like we're this new era, and the bad guys essentially used AI to find these holes, right? I think that is a really interesting topic, right? Because this like cat and mouse game of like bad guys using AI, good guys using AI. And now you got guys like Francis Puglia and then like all these like, freedom fighters going out there, like running AI 24/7 to secure the network and different devices. I'm hoping what will come out of this is that like Bitcoin by nature obviously calls upon it like a lot of attack, like because bad guys love Bitcoin, right? Because it's like this bearer asset where once you take it, you can't reverse it or call the bank. But I think what's happening is we're starting to see, right, like how big of a threat AI is. And as a result, the Bitcoiners are kind of stepping up their game with counter AI, right? Open source tools, these Chinese models, et cetera. And that may give us a kind of a view into what the future for all systems might look like, right? Like, I mean, banks and all these other guys out there, they're closed systems, right? So maybe they're about to face what we just faced, but who knows if they'll fare as well. I mean, we can pivot, we can twist and turn because we're open source, so we can learn and we can adapt and we can take losses and keep going. But I mean, a business is obviously very different. We'll see. I'm still bullish on Bitcoin. Like I said, absolutely nothing about the Bitcoin code base was affected. This was literally something at the periphery that wasn't, seen by the creators. And like I said, shame on all of us, not just the NVK and these guys, but like all of us for not, verifying and doing what we needed to do. But yeah, well, Dan, what else you got in the chopping block? I think you wanted to share about, the Canadian Bitcoin conference as well, right? Like where it all started and where we're going. But do you guys want to switch gears a bit, or what are you guys saying?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Yeah.
So we don't end this off on a doom and gloom kind of situation. But I mean, not that I think it is. I do think there's something positive here. I've yet to find it. I'm kidding, but yeah. But Dan, where do you want to go with this now, man?
Dan's muted and
he's like he's looking at his cold card. I think he's Dan, are you there?
He's checking his funds.
Yeah, I'm here. I might need to jump off and jump on again. My connection's not that good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got another call I got to run to as well. Do you guys want to bring this one to a close then, or is there anything else? Yeah, we can kind of hear you, Dan. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah,
I can hear you. Yeah,
we can see you as well. Do you want to help us land the plane at least? Tell people a little bit about what's going on, or do you want to do it on the next call?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear. We can see you. Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you. You good to go?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I'll go ahead and say it. Well, listen, one of the big things we want to talk about is the Canadian Bitcoin Conference for 2026. We're going to postpone. The challenges and the headwinds of the bear market have really had an impact on planning, had an impact on sponsorship, had an impact on attendees, attendance, ticket sales. When we were going through this, we thought, early on when Bitcoin price was good, sentiment was good at the start of the year, obviously you have to book venues and get everything organized, start to get speakers engaged, start to get things ramped up. Things were good. I know when we talked to Dave Bradley, his event, it's usually in June. We kind of started to see some warning signs. Well, I think the Bitcoin conference in Vegas was really poorly attended. I think the numbers we were hearing was that they were anticipating 30,000. They only got like 8,000 or something. And then we talked to Dave Bradley. Dave had similar experience with poor attendance. Things obviously price wise got worse, sentiment got worse. These things like the cold card hack and the challenges in the space, haven't made it easier. But I think we don't want to put on a bad show. If we'd rather put on no show than put on a bad show, and we're kind of concerned that low attendance, low number of companies coming and sponsoring and having that engagement is really not going to make for a good experience. So we've decided to push it out for a year. So that's the big announcement coming out of this. I don't know, Ben or Sonny, anything to add?
Yeah, well, just kind of joining you guys recently, primarily focused mostly on the industry day, the kind of corporate adoption thesis. We had a number of participants, key partners that were keyed up, lined up, ready to go speaker-wise. I think speaker-wise, ultimately, even speakers, there's a bit of a challenge because ultimately they're dealing with the bear market as well. But for the most part, I think the agenda, the show would have been quality, but it's all participants, right? And there's no doubt about it. Everybody's kind of. I'm going to a stag party in PE. I'm going to the Delta, and it's the big night of the weekend there, or the summer there, horse races. For a one bedroom, a king size bed, was $800 a night. $800 a night. I'm a grown ass man. I can't go. I can't afford 3 nights by myself. So I'm bunking up with So it's understandable right now. Like, especially, if you're a Bitcoin builder, your core asset likely is in Bitcoin. Your balance sheet is likely highly denominated by Bitcoin. And, your inflows and incomes, if you're in the community, is, sales of hardware wallets, etc., likely lower. So, I haven't been around that in 5 years. I kind of bought the top, wrote it down, but I didn't have enough to really feel the pain as much as it was all excitement to write it down and just thinking, oh, this is great. It's so cheap. Now being much more exposed, and I feel this one more so in many ways, and there's really nothing I can do other than just stare at the thing and try to poke it with a stick and tell it to go up. But yeah, I think I was gonna ask you about other conferences. I often go to a lot of conferences. I am not going to as many this year, and I'm a key demographic, target audience member, and I've been going to less. Now, notably, I was doing less because I was gearing up for this event. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, Sonny, your thoughts?
Thoughts? Well, I think the Canadian Bitcoin Conference is freaking awesome. I'm honored that Dan asked me to join the team here and help organize it. I guess I've seen, kind of the ups and downs for Bitcoin. I think although this is one that hits close, I think with what's going on right now with cold card and, the whole market pullback, it's a tough time. Yet, I'm not going to lie, it's kind of my favorite time. I actually like it when there's blood on the streets, just because everyone else runs for the hills and you're just kind of building, all by yourself. And then when it comes roaring back, everyone's going to be like, I knew it was going to be so good and this and that. And be like, yeah, right, buddy. I'm taking notes here. I'm taking notes. So I'm okay with it. Like I said, Bitcoin is still functioning exactly as is. Nothing has changed. think people
Yeah.
took losses. That always is, I think, very, very hard. And yeah, I think, we should all just be a little bit less dogmatic. Yeah, I think I consider myself a Bitcoin maxi at heart, but I think I'm like the worst Bitcoin maxi there is, just because it's like religion, right? Like I go to church with my wife, I go to I'm Hinduism by birth and this and that, but when people ask me, I just say I'm like confused, because I just don't want to take a position. But I think with self custody, Michael Saylor, all these like extremes, learn from everyone, right? Adapt and keep building wealth, and focus on your health, focus on your family, focus on making shitloads of money, and then keep slamming it into Bitcoin. What can I say? It's like I don't think anything too much fundamentally has shifted. And and I think if you're a builder, you should just be like digging your heels in and keep building.
Yeah, no, it's good philosophy. I think on the conference side, we it's a real kind of bummer for me, because I mean it's when you're building, like you were talking about building, keep building. We were building kind of 2023. We started this. 2024 was great. In Montreal. 2025 was great. There was great momentum coming in, and then the market just tanks. And the challenging part is there's a core group of people who we see it. People buy tickets, no matter what. They're coming. That's Ben Schmidt's first on the leaderboard. But there's a cohort of other people who are quite just go with the times. Like if market's down, they're not going. If market's up, they're going. It's riding the bandwagon, I guess, from the sporting analogy. And that that's challenging to. How do you get those people engaged all the time? But anyway, look, the community is still great. Like I've been reaching out to a lot of speakers, letting them know, like all those speakers, nearly all the speakers that we have engaged in the last number of years, they've been amazing. They've given up their time. Some of them have paid themselves. Sometimes we provide accommodation and stuff for them, but none of them have ever really paid any big money. The sponsors are unbelievable the last number of years. Like the staple of sponsors we had at the conference. And I understand, like it can be difficult for a lot of them to commit with when they're having financial pressures or business pressures, and then kind of throwing big money at a conference or an event could be a challenge. And then there's it's not just providing sponsorship, it's logistics of bringing 5 people, 10 people, hotels for those people, that kind of stuff as well, which is the added cost. I think coming out of this, they're probably like I have a good connection with a lot of the meetup guys, the Toronto guys, a lot of the meetups through Canada. There's an opportunity here to bring all the meetups together. I think that would be amazing, and maybe that should be more of a focus, because a lot of the big cost we have is the venues and AV. Those are 2 of the massive costs. Like those alone for the events we have are usually like between 60 and 100 grand, depending where you are. There is an opportunity where it should be just about getting people together, learning together, talking to each other, getting a bunch of like-minded people together and having fun and enjoying yourselves. I think that there's lots of value in that, and maybe that's something we could do in the short term, and then we start building again for next year.
Yeah, I like that, man. Should we land the plane then, guys? What do you say, Ben? Any final thoughts?
Yeah, I would say that I guess first and foremost, I'd just like to remind everybody that this is something that every week you can expect to hear from us. The Canadian Bitcoin Conference podcast. We're looking to just engage with past speakers and sponsors and attendees, and just keep the conversation engaged. We want to make sure that this community sticks together, and I this is a natural process in growth, and so it's a setback, but I think, again, making sure everybody stays connected. So if you guys can put it in your mental Rolodex there to keep us in mind. Every week, we're going to be contacting and engaging with past speakers and sponsors. Next week, we actually have Akeem Gardner with Canerta. It's pharmaceutical drugs and how he's a very smart guy. He's talking way over my head, but it was very interesting. Quite excited to have him. And then we have Katie the Russian with Citizen X talking about Plan B passports and your backup plans other than just self-storage Bitcoin. And we have then Rajat Soni, everybody's favorite chartered financial accountant turned Bitcoiner. And then we have Carlo. I'm gonna butcher his last name, but yeah, Carlo from ShakePay, and they just released a few new products, and I just got nudged that I can get my physical credit card. So I'll be signing up for that. So yeah, we've got a lot of great guests, and we'll be pumping them up, and they'll be coming out the door. So every week you can expect the Canadian Bitcoin Conference podcast to be here.
Perfect. And we're missing Wasim tonight. So I guess Wasim's had a bereavement in the family, and our thoughts go out to him and his family at this time. But yeah, he'll be here probably in the next number of weeks as well. So.
And just to end it, a huge thank you, Daniel, to you, Manuela, Nicole, and Wasim for the last few years. I can't tell you how much, my whole family loves this event, right? Like, it's something that we look forward to every year. It was the very first one was Father's Day. It was me and Dad, and we went up 2 days early. So it was, this is postponed. This is not canceled. This is delayed. We'll be all back together again. And onward and upward.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. All right, gents. Thanks for your time. We'll talk soon.
Take care, guys. Cheers.